welcome back to my channel. So we are on the countdown. We are on probably season finale for Real Housewives of New Jersey. Watch. I know I'm going to be watching. Hopefully you will be watching as well, so we can talk about it when I do my recap and review. I would love to know your thoughts when that's going to be happening. I will most certainly let you know by notification bell. So definitely make sure you have your notification bell so you don't miss that. I did just drop a video also probably within an hour ago. Make sure that you get a chance to take a look at that as well. These are both precursors to what we are going to hopefully see as the sit-down dinner in Real Housewives of New Jersey. But before we get into that, as you can see, the first person here on the screen is not from Real Housewives of New Jersey. So I wanted to go over what's going on with the good old Safaree as well. Now, if you also saw the last video that I just actually dropped, that was more of a revelation, sharing of Real Housewives of New Jersey, kind of getting into a couple of really heated situations that have happened in the season thus far. And this one is going to give us some insights into some of those parameters, as well as some of the parameters that we didn't really cover in that sharing. So definitely wanted to make sure I pass that information on to you and get your thoughts, as I was going to share mine. So as we can see here from the start, it looks like Safaree has said, I'm out of here. He's done. Are you surprised? I kind of am, because this was kind of like, his thing here for a minute. But he has pretty much been on, I think, every Love and Hip Hop franchise show. And now he says, that's it, I'm done, I'm out of here. Now, the last I had saw, it was of him being in Love and Hip Hop Miami. And I believe he was engaged to Amara for about at least an episode or two. But for some reason, I feel like I didn't see the ending of Love and Hip Hop Miami. So if you saw the season finale, let me know down below if you watch it, because I don't think I saw it. I feel like it was a cutoff situation that took place. I know that there was some things that came out, revelations to actually Mara, and obviously that was going to put their so-called engagement on hold or kaputs it, but I don't remember anything that happened after that. So I don't know if it just cut off or what was going on there. But if you saw it and I just happened to miss it, then let me know down below. But let's get into this quick sharing here, because he says he's done. Now, according to allhiphop.com, Safaree quits Love and Hip Hop. Safaree starred in Atlanta, Hollywood, Miami, and New York versions of the popular reality TV series Love and Hip Hop. Safaree announced his departure from the Love and Hip Hop franchise on the We in Miami podcast. The reality TV star rapper said he left the series due to its exclusivity demands. I walked away, he said. They filming. I didn't even sign back on. I would have did it again, but these lawyers and everybody, they be wanting to have all these exclusivity rights. And it's like, you can't have me tied down and say, okay, only here. You can't do anything else. You got to pay me to sit. And that's a really good point, because if you might notice, or maybe you haven't, Tyler Perry, I think he does a really good job of obviously not enforcing an exclusivity clause, meaning that it appears that the individuals who are actors and actresses on his many different shows have the ability and the flexibility to go to different areas and do other shows, which I thought that was great. I think that is fantastic, because why does an individual need to only stay assigned to one one television station or whatever, or streaming platform? Why can't they move around about the building, if you will? At the end of the day, I mean, look, people got to get their money, they got to get their bag. So why are we stopping it by saying you can only work here in this particular vicinity? Now, Safaree has been able to hop to all of the franchises. I don't know if too many have done that, other than Ray J and Princess as well, alongside with Ray J. So not too many do the flip-flop back and forth. I do think we saw a little bit with Scrappy from Atlanta, and he did some spots on Miami, and then he went right back to Atlanta. So, the exclusivity thing, I can see that could be a problem. And at the end of the day, sometimes your storyline or anything about you is not going to be, shared. So why do I have to sit in just this particular franchise? I could be doing something else. So that makes sense to me. The reality TV star expresses his eye took explore new opportunities. He also admitted his frustrations with the show's viewers. With Love and Hip Hop, I just don't like that there's people who watch it and they really feel like they know me, he explained. I be places and people see me and they'll be like, behave yourself. Stop. What? Get the out of here. Get out of my face, lady. These people are really holding on to some stuff that they see. Well, that's because it's stuff that you show. And when you show this and we don't get to see anything else of you, then yes, it will give people a perceived notion that you are who you are and what you show. And sometimes that may be the case, but there are some people who do get a little too invested at times. And so I can understand that how difficult that must be if you're the perceived villain of the moment, that you probably can't go through airports or restaurants without having somebody say something slick to you. So that can probably wear on you after a time, especially how we know, or we hear at least, that there's a lot of producer, possibly, I'll say alleged at this point, but we do tend to hear rumors about there's a lot of producing manipulation going on with storylines and people's characters and what they want to show and how they want to show them. So that can be very frustrating if that is what happened. We'll say all things alleged there. Now, Safaree had appreciated his time on Love and Hip Hop. Despite his complaints, he credited the reality TV franchise for playing a pivotal role in his career. Well, absolutely. I would say that is very true. He says, I can't even front on the amount of doors that it opened up for me and opportunities and the extra eyes, he said. At first, I really was not trying to do it. And then when I got on and I kind of felt like I took it over, that stuff really did help a lot. Safaree starred in 4 iterations of Love and Hip Hop. He was best known for dating Nicki Minaj before becoming a Love and Hip Hop cast member. And Safaree and Nicki split in 2014, but we also know him very much for his ongoing battles, it seems like, with custody or just issues, period, with Erica Mena, who was also a Love and Hip Hop star who did a little bit of crossover herself. She did over New York and Atlanta as well, and she's no longer with the franchise. So, he's always been, and as far as I can recall, storylines that have always been scandalous or challenging at best, never really looking like the good guy, in my opinion. But I wonder if that was ever really his stick in the first place. I think he kind of enjoyed it. But again, when you can't leave that character, or that persona rather, in its place and then go about your regular life once you leave, that could be a bit challenging, especially if they're going to say that you're going to have to stay here and only do this, so where's the reprieve there? So, I wish Safaree well. He did bring some comedy to the iterations, I will say. There was some funny moments, especially the one we hit his own self with the chair that he tried to throw when he was having a tantrum that I don't think was a real tantrum, but that's just my opinion, my thoughts. But let me know your thoughts. Are you sad to see Safaree go if you watch the show? Do you think that you'll see him back later on? I kind of feel like we might. If the show survives, if the franchises survive, I think we may see him peek in here or there, because he did provide a bit of a comic relief in some cases, especially the ones where they were not storylines attached to Erica Mena. So, of course, those would tend to be a lot more serious and not so fun to watch, of course. So, yeah, I would love to know your thoughts about that. Drop it down in the comment section and let me know what you're thinking about Safaree's exit. Would love to know. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Real Housewives of New Jersey, because we've got some more insights to tell, some more insights to talk about. Now, according to etonline.com, Melissa Gorga agrees that Real Housewives of New Jersey needs changes amid the toxic season 14 she exclusively shares. Now, Melissa Gorga knows the Real Housewives of New Jersey needs some updates. Melissa Gorga knows things can't stay the same on the Real Housewives of New Jersey. ET spoke to the longtime reality star at Monday's New York premiere of Tyler Perry's Divorce in the Black, and she addressed shakeup rumors amid a tense season with castmates Teresa Guiducci, Dolores Catena, Margaret Joseph, Jennifer Aiden, Danielle Cabral, and Rachel Fuda. I agree with Bravo that there needs to be changes. I agree with that 100%, Melissa told ET. I think things have gotten really toxic. There's 2 of my cast members that have played really dirty behind the scenes, and it's coming out. It's all coming out because it's always rises to the top. It always comes out in the laundry. It's been years, so it's all coming forward. In other words, those things that happen in the dark or not so dark come into light, I guess. Should the cast get revamped next season? Melissa, who had no direct contact with her sister-in-law, Teresa, in season 14 amid their dramatic fallout, said she's prepared for anything. And I think that that's a safe answer. Whatever Bravo decides to do is fine with me. Well, literally, because she doesn't have any choice. She told ET in May, I don't make demands. I come to work. I have a very strong relationship with the show. So I feel like whoever they decide to cast or not cast, I'm fine in my own lane with my own family and my own kids, and I'll deal with it when I have to deal with it. Last month, news had broke that there will not be a traditional reunion at the end of season 14 of Real Housewives of New Jersey. Andy Cohen revealed on SiriusXM's Reality Check with Kiki Monique that producers made the shocking decision after watching the season finale, which he describes as a conclusion and a reunion rolled on into one. I think that the main thing is this will all make sense once you see the finale. It is one of those classic Jersey finales that people will be talking about for a long time to come, he said. When all of us producers saw the last cut of the finale, we all came to decisions separately, and then we talked. It's in the great tradition of absolute shocking, dramatic Jersey finales, and they have the final epic group encounter, which is like, it feels like the Last Supper, and it's just so Jersey, Andy added. And it's shocking, and it's dramatic, and it's amazing TV. I'm telling you, when you see it, I think that you'll feel complete. I really do. The Watch What Happens Live host went on to promise that there will be something that Bravo is cooking up in place of a reunion. And so that is to be announced. Melissa hinted at that as well, telling ET on Monday, we are going to end up doing something. You guys will see something to kind of piece it all together. It won't be a full-blown reunion, but I'm sure there will be something. For now, Melissa and her husband, Joe Gorga, are focusing on spending time together. They did just that at the premiere, where Joe proudly snapped pics of his wife with whom he tied the knot in 2004. She's amazing, Joe gushed. Look how beautiful she is. He always says that, doesn't he? He loves his wife. And I love a man who loves his wife. I like to capture these moments. We like to make memories. We create the memory, save the memory, Melissa added. One day we're going to be in our rocking chairs at 80 and be like, remember when I looked good and we were at the Tyler Perry movie premiere? We want to remember these things. So yeah, that's a bit of a challenge here, right? But it's not anything that we didn't already somewhat know, but it is nice to hear a cast member kind of speak on it somewhat. I do believe Rachel Fuda, when she was on Watch What Happens Live, I believe she may have had a little bit something to say. Teresa Giudice actually was on Watch What Happens Live after Rachel, and she did have something to say about that, in which she agreed that yes, the season finale is going to really supply you with what you need for reunion. And in my opinion, I think they probably didn't want to see each other in the reunion. It would have been too close to deal with the situation at hand. So this is probably the best decision for the situation. So now we're moving on to US Magazine sharing that how the Real Housewives of New Jersey non-traditional reunion will work next week. Now, the Real Housewives of New Jersey's upcoming reunion will look a little different this season. A source exclusively tells US Weekly that the special is going to film at the same location at season 14 finale at the Rail Steakhouse. It will be a non-traditional reunion where the plan is everyone is not in the same room. Per the insider, however, the cast will watch the finale and provide commentary. Sister-in-laws Teresa Giudice and Melissa Gorga will not be in the same room amid their ongoing feud, according to the source. Jennifer Aydin and Danielle Crivel will also not be in the same room together. The plan is Gorga, Margaret Josephs, Rachel Fuda, and Cabral will be together in one of the rooms, and Giudice, Aydin, and Jackie Goldschneider will likely be together in another room. Dolores Catana will probably have to run between both rooms. But Dolores and Jennifer Fessel will potentially float in between, there we go, in between rooms, and you never know what else can happen, says the source. Now, I hope they got their running shoes on. The insider shares that there is potential for the Real Housewives of New Jersey cast members to resolve storylines that are essential to the season. This could include Gorga and Giudice, who have not been on speaking terms all season long. The reunion will be a one-part special as of now, and at this time, executive producer Andy Cohen is not hosting. However, the source adds that could change. Bravo was not available for comment. Now, last month, there was speculation a reunion wouldn't happen as the divide between Giudice and Gorga continues to escalate. Real Housewives of New Jersey fans have noticed over the season that many of the other housewives have broken up into factions, with some saying friends with Gorga while others are backing Gucci. Teresa and Melissa are holding the show hostage, a second source told us in May. Everyone has been forced to choose sides and not have any real interaction. Cohen 55 confirmed in June that the Real Housewives of New Jersey reunion was not going to be what the fans are used to. We are going to cross next season as that comes. When Cohen shares that, he said during a June episode of Sirius XM's Reality Check with Kiki Monique, right now we're just kind of focusing on, okay, well, if we're not doing a conventional reunion, what are we doing and what is something different that we could do? In addition to the reunion drama, there have been rumblings of potential cast shakeup. However, Cohen has shut down that speculation. There was a bunch of casting news about Jersey that was reported today. None of it was true. No decisions have been made, he had told Entertainment Tonight in June. We haven't had any serious conversations about next season. So anything you read about what Jersey's going to be for the next season, for the next, I would say 6 months, is fake. So don't believe it. And, you know, at the end of the day, I think that this is probably a good idea from what I can see. And definitely after that confrontation between Jennifer Aiden and Danielle, I honestly don't see them being in the room together right now. I think it's going to be too fresh for them. And, you know, how reunions typically go, they bring up those things to talk about. And sometimes it brings up the anger associated and the feelings and emotions that were associated to those events, even if you think you may have been over it. And there was an altercation there, so I don't know how you can get over that so quickly, if ever. So at the end of the day, you know, I think it's a smart move. It's going to be funny to see Dolores and Jennifer Fessler running back and forth between the rooms, but they're probably, well, I mean, that's what they're going to have to do, right? But you know how they clip it and all that kind of stuff. So they may not have to do so much running, but hey, look, Dolores works out, so she'll be fine. Jennifer Fessler is doing what she needs to do, so she'll be fine too. And I think it's funny because this is what happens when you are on the fence, right? When you want to be cool with both friends. But I'll be honest with you, if we saw a show where it was just really just straight down the middle and no in between, I don't think how that would be so realistic either, or interesting to watch, because you would feel like you'd have to be this kind of team battle, and that's annoying in its sense. It's annoying in real life, and it's probably going to be annoying on the show. So to see two individuals who can be liked by everybody gives you hope that at some point some things can be resolved. Hopefully, we'll just have to see. But yeah, I am of that mindset that I think it is a good idea to do something different. How this will fare, I guess time will tell. Do we think that there'll be a cast shakeup? In my opinion, quite frankly, I think they should leave the cast as is. I think sometimes we run into problems when there's too many shakeups. I mean, it kind of irritates me, you know, me personally anyways, that when I go from season to season, if I'm watching it, I get, you know, vested, I guess, in that particular cast. And if I'm pretty much cool with everybody, I don't really want to see no new friends sometimes. And sometimes the new people you bring on are not really adding anything. They're taken away from the story. And then therefore, what's the point? And so there seemed to be a bit of that going on for quite some time, for a few seasons, and it just got kind of irritated. So it was nice to see them kind of keep the majority of the people and kept going with the next season, right? Now, as far as Goldschneider goes, you know, I don't know, Jackie's time, I think maybe her as a French's show is good enough. She obviously, you know, provided her own fodder, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in this video. But I don't know if I really see her as a cast member anymore. I did like her at first. I did like the way that she would deliver her lines, I guess, in a sense. But I really just not feeling her so much this season. I feel like, I don't know if she's really legitimately trying to be friends with Teresa and Jennifer because she really sees the light with them, or is she doing that just so she can sell her book, or is she doing that so she can find a way back onto the show? And either way is a bit scammy to me. So I don't really know which way to go on that, but let me know your thoughts if you're watching the show. What are your thoughts on how Jackie Goldschneider is handling her way this time around? Do you think it's legit, or do you think it's a playing the card? Is she kind of, you know, the one that's trying to, you know, hide, what is it, show your hands and hide your hands, or whatever the saying is, but then at the same time trying to get in there but not get in there, get herself acquainted with Teresa because she thinks that's the way in? I don't know. You tell me your thoughts below. So we are moving on now to Teresa basically drawing the line in the sand with Gorga, her brother Joe. I really find this to be just sad to me, quite frankly. I really wish they would find a way, but it just seems like I've shared before that Their issues are just so deeply rooted. I mean, I think this was going on long before even Teresa was on the show. And it's just really unfortunate that there is these issues with the two of them. I really wish they'd find a way to patch things up. I really do. Because, there's the girls and the boys, right? Because they have nieces and nephews of the show, of the families, rather. And I mean, do they even have a relationship anymore? And I just find that to be really sad. Let's go ahead and quickly get into this. Teresa Giudice draws a line in the sand with I don't want to say Joe Gorga, and there's a lot of things basically, which I'm not surprised. The Real Housewives of New Jersey's Teresa Giudice just opened up about where she stands with her brother today, and of course, the sharing is coming from Bravo.com as well. Teresa Giudice's complicated relationship with brother Joe Gorga and his wife Melissa Gorga has been documented on the Real Housewives of New Jersey for the past 12 seasons. Oh, it's so hard to even imagine. Season 14, which is currently airing, has captured the siblings refusing to talk to one another while remaining on the outskirts of each other's lives. Does Teresa Giudice plan on reconciling with her brother Joe Gorga? Not anytime soon. During a recent appearance on Live with Kelly and Mark, Teresa had told host Kelly Ripa that she did not see there being a path forward in their relationship, especially since they've already tried to have a conversation with one another away from the cameras. We've done it so many times, Kelly, she said. And you saw my parents, how I was raised. And there's a lot of things that, I'm not going to discuss that happened, Teresa explained. And I always kept my mouth shut because I didn't want to upset my parents. And you know what? Sometimes you just can't go back. While Teresa said that a lot has happened between them over the years, she feels at peace with this decision. Listen, he's happy with his, wife and his family and her family. I'm happy with my new husband. Joe and Melissa also addressed the possibility of reconciling during a June appearance on Sherry, stating that it would not happen right now. You know what it is when someone is never happy for you or your marriage. It becomes very difficult when sometimes you have to take the toxic and say, listen, this is very toxic, Melissa said. Melissa has been in my life for 20 years, Joe added. I have 3 children with her. That is my life. You have to embrace my life. You can't try to tear my life down for what reason. I have to make a choice, and I can't be around somebody trying to hurt me. Joe Gorga emotionally reflects on his relationship with Teresa. In Real Housewives of New Jersey, season 14, episode 9, Joe had gotten emotional about the future of his relationship with Teresa and their 4 daughters. After officiating his cousin's wedding, Joe had addressed that he was sad that Teresa would miss out on her niece and nephew's future milestones. And that is sad. That's why I say I wish they could find some way to come together. But, both people have to come to a point of understanding and then an actual willingness to change and understand that it may possibly not be all one side in this situation. There are situations sometimes where it is just the one person in that coupling. That's the problem. But, obviously space and time is what they need. It's just unfortunate because, real life at the same time is happening. People are going to school, graduating, getting married, having babies, and you're not going to be there for any of the milestones, any of the moments. For what? Because you didn't care for a wife that he seems to still be married for 20 years. I mean, that's according to what Joe was, as he's sharing. There's obviously an issue with that. And then what's Melissa's issue? Is it that she's, been the brunt of whatever Teresa has to say and doesn't like the things that come at her? Or has she really done some things that have kind of rubbed Teresa's wrong? We don't really know. There's been a little bit of touching and going on the subject, but we really don't know the real core. We just know, or I feel like we just know that it's deep and it runs deep. And I wish they'd find some way to come together because this is just sad. And I'm pretty sure, at the end of the day, they're the only 2 family members they really have. I mean, I understand it's cousin Rosie and also cousin Kathy, but if I'm not mistaken, isn't Kathy and Rosie not even speaking to Teresa either? I think that Kathy, and Rosie are still cool with Joe and Melissa, but I think that there was a bit of a strain there for a little bit as well. So, it's just a lot of really sadness. And Kathy also has kids. And so there's milestones happening with her children. Are Teresa as cousins and, not being a part of that either? I mean, it's just really sad. It makes me think of my sister and I say she won't be at my kids' weddings. He said during a confessional, my nieces will get married and I'm not going to be there. Yeah, and isn't Joe not even an uncle, but also a godfather to them? I mean, it's just really sad how things have turned out for the family. So let me know your thoughts on that. Pretty much everything I just talked about. Just let me know what you think. Do you think that this is the end of the road for Teresa and Joe? I'd love to know your thoughtful commentation. That's not even a word. Thoughtful comments, down below. What are your thoughts? Because I just really wish they would. I really wish they would. So let's move on to Margaret Joseph. Basically, she's sharing an insight, and in which she states that she has no regrets over Jackie Goldschneider fallout, and she sounds off on season 14 drama. This is according to ET Online. The Real Housewives of New Jersey's Margaret Joseph unpacks everything unfolding on and off screen, hitting back at Teresa Giudice. Those two are never going to get back together either. Margaret Joseph feels everything's coming to light the way it should on season 14 of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. It's sad, a lot of fractured friendships, but I think people see the real truth. The longtime star tells ET over video chat. Everyone's gonna be super entertained, and just wait for that season finale, because maybe I'm gonna be the one vindicated this time. Well, I'm here for that. I want to see if the tables need to turn, because I prefer the truth. I want to see that truth. For almost her entire tenure on Real Housewives of New Jersey, Margaret's found herself at odds with OG star Teresa Giudice. Yeah, I think there was like only a momentarily ceasefire from them. Who's claimed time and time again that Margaret is responsible for everything negative that unfolds within their group. And I think it's because she feels that Teresa or that Margaret has someone that she runs to and gets dirt on. I think that's where some of that came from. Teresa even teased at the start of the season that she, not Margaret, will come out victorious in the years-long fight by finale. Well, I guess we'll be there to see it, right? I mean, seriously, she has an interesting mind. Margaret hits back, sharing that the smoking gun Teresa keeps teasing is the fact that Margaret was once in contact with ex-fiance of Teresa's husband, Louis Reales, with whom the couple's been in a legal battle over harassment. Margaret says Teresa's timeline, though, is off. That's a little bit something different that I didn't know about. That was way after, she thinks, Margaret notes. She previously told Jeff Lewis Live that she got in touch with the ex in question only after Teresa got in contact with Margaret's former friend. I do remember a little bit about that, Laura Jensen, which sparked issues on the show. Margaret spoke with the ex again after Louis announced his friend, private investigator Bo Dietl, provided him with dirt on the entire cast of Real Housewives of New Jersey, a claim he's since walked back. Margaret, Teresa, and Louis got into it at the season 13 reunion over the PI investigation, as well as Margaret's claim that Louis made a threatening phone call to her son, who's never appeared on the show. And at work, Louis denied the call ever took place. He sure did, suggesting his phone number, which appeared on the phone records that Margaret proved as proof, was used in a spoof call plot. Some viewers still don't buy that Louis ever called Margaret's son, especially that Teresa swore on her 4 daughters that it never happened. Because of course, if you swear on family members, that's just an automatic pass that they must be telling the truth. Margaret suggests that there's more evidence she could provide to shut down the cynics, but she's prioritizing her family's privacy over reality TV. I told you so. And yeah, I don't think we're going to see her kids on here now after this for sure. My family's private citizens. I'm not going to put them on the chopping block. My children, my son, my whatever, to satisfy naysayers, she explains. I don't have to prove it to anybody. The people who know are myself, the network, my close friends, and that's what the people who need to know. I wonder if there's some information in that envelope that did not get opened in the season reunion. I wonder if that's some reflection into that. Usually on spoof calls, no one's on the other end, she adds. There was a conversation that was had for your info. It wasn't like there was no one on the other end. There was threats made. Margaret is also keeping the nature of those threats private, but does offer this. My son said the phone number was seen. That I know who you are, Louis immediately said. Oh, it's the wrong number. I have the wrong number, and I hung up. It's one of the many topics of discussion constantly recirculating among the fandom on social media, where a slideshow show of sorts is playing out as the actual show airs on Bravo. Since the start of the season, one account has routinely posted alleged receipts that appear to show Teresa and Jennifer Aydin feeding intel to this fan page in order to generate story for the show or push certain narratives as it airs. Jennifer has yet to publicly address the allegations, while Teresa has denied having anything to do with it. It's all true, Margaret scoffs. It is 1,000% true. I had called it a year ago. I was alerted by another account that this was happening. I had filed a police report against that account, and it was so funny. In one of the screenshots, this account says to Teresa, the screenshots, oh my God, I got a cease and desist letter from Margaret's attorney. Classic. This account has had a change of heart, a come to Jesus moment, thankfully, in good conscience and in good faith, has come clean with everything, she continues. I believe it all to be true because everything she has said, over the months of last year during filming of this year was all coming out on the blogs prior. It's nothing, everything does add up. And it's sad. It's sad that someone would hijack seasons like that, hire people to do these horrible things. It's very, very unfortunate. Teresa claims Margaret is actually the one behind the social media drama, a long con plot to frame her and Jennifer. Former co-star Danielle Staub has also alleged that Margaret secretly collaborates or even runs certain pages. But isn't even Danielle and Teresa not even talking? So I don't know how much we want to include Danielle in this situation. Never once, Margaret declares, no one has ever done one thing. I bought a pizza box once from someone who bought it on eBay. So I said, yeah, bring me that pizza box, and I paid them for it. Big deal. That's the worst I've ever done. Buy the pizza box so I could do something fun with that reunion. Yeah, that's called housewifery. Big deal. The pizza box in question was actually an at-home pizza oven, a failed business Teresa, Louie, and her brother Joe Gorga attempted to start together. They did talk about that at the reunion last year, if you recall. Their disagreements over the project played into Teresa and Joe's falling out in season 13, which came to a dramatic head at the reunion, at which Margaret did not bring out the oven she bought off the fan. I've never fed information on one blog account, she makes clear. I don't need to. I don't have time. I actually have business and a job outside of this. Unlike no one has shown a screenshot of me doing anything. Nothing remotely like that. No one has come out against me. Nothing like this. This woman posting receipts now has an entire Bible years of things. Screeners were sent. I mean, this is sick. This is a manipulation of an entire seasons, I should say. Margaret questions how anyone would believe she was behind the account in question, knowing that it posted the most vicious things about her close friend and business partner, Lexi Barbuda, and castmate, Melissa Goga, for years. This account was the most vile account in the entire universe, she reiterates. So I did all of that years in advance. So then twist and turn around just to take down Teresa and Jennifer? Okay. Margaret says her mission has never been to take anyone down. However, Teresa has made it clear she wants to expose Margaret for the liar she believes her to be. She doubled down on that directive on Sunday's episode, telling Jennifer and Dolores that her main motivation for forming a friendship with her own former enemy and Margaret's former close pal Jackie was to get info that might help her cause. I knew it to be true all along, Margaret proclaims. Teresa, people say I'm obsessed with her. I could care less about her. She's clearly obsessed with me. And if you may recall, Goldschneider, Jackie, was actually on Watch What Happens Live a few weeks ago, and Andy had shared, you're going to be a little bit surprised at some of the things that were shared, because that airing of Teresa saying basically we're dealing with the ops in order to get the information so we can take down Margaret. And what did Goldschneider say? Oh, well, we're good. Everything that happened, it took place before. It's in the past. Now, I find that to be a bit fishy, because at the end of the day, Goldschneider, Jackie, she always has something to say. She always had something for Teresa. She always had something for anyone. And I just can't imagine that hearing someone say that they are actually being friends and using you to get information on somebody else. I don't see how Jackie would be so okay with that. I don't know. I'm telling you, it just feels a little scammy to me. Now, Jackie pulled away from Margaret over the course of filming season 14 on screen. Their main issue appears to be over Jackie's memoir, The Weight of Beautiful, and her unwillingness to give Margaret an advance copy or credit for helping make the book a reality. Jackie since shared that their friendship started to fracture when Margaret gave her an ultimatum of sorts, pressuring Jackie to quit the show if Louis returned. Margaret's friend Jen Fessler shared a similar anecdote, but made it clear Margaret never asked her to quit the show. And Margaret says only one of those conversations ever happened. And of course, those two individuals actually were on Watch What Happens Live, and they talked about that at the same time. Now, Jen Fessler has come to my defense and told the truth. She says, I never said that. Jen Fessler had said to me, oh my God, if you don't come back, I'm not coming back. That was the conversation. And this is the truth. Why would I even ask Jackie, who I didn't even know was going to be asked back, who was hanging on by a thread to not come back? Jackie went from full-time housewife, as you may know, to a friend of in season 13, and she holds the same role in season 14. I don't need to ask people not to come back, Margaret continues. I'm strong enough on my own to make my own decisions. I would never ask anybody to give up their career or anything remotely like that. The network knew exactly how I felt. They take things very seriously. As for people who question why Margaret returned to the show if she was so opposed of being around Louis, she points out that viewers have not seen her share any screen time with the man in season 14. I have not been with Louis. I have not been around Louis, she knows. The producers understand the severity of the situation in the way that I felt. It's boundaries, she says. I have boundaries that were crossed and they respect those boundaries. It's very simple. Margaret says her issues with Jackie are also simple, though it hasn't exactly come across that way on Real Housewives of New Jersey. Some people are like Margaret's whining. She just didn't get a book. That's not what it is, she says. When I said I championed Jackie, that means I supported her. I wasn't taking credit for anything. Obviously, she's an unbelievably talented writer. And I do believe Jackie was a blogger, if I'm not mistaken. What I was hurt and sad about was I was the first one who knew about everything, and also a lawyer, because I helped her get the book deal, which that doesn't mean she wouldn't have gone on her own, but her original agent had left her, insulted her, and hurt her. She called me hysterical, crying. I was like, please go work with and then she shared her team. This is why I don't think that Jackie is really all that cool with hearing Teresa say, hey, I'm just using her just to get this situation going. I'm not buying it. I helped empower her because she was feeling very much on the back foot, which any good friend would do, she continues. I don't need credit for that. So I felt very invested in her and our relationship and the book with her. I was the first one who saw her cover the day she was doing the shoot. We had the same publisher. She needed my press list. She needed my influencer list. Everybody who works for her worked for me originally. I gave her those people. And of course, you do that for a good friend. So I felt it was very calculated of her to not give me the book because she was trying to prove something. So that's why I was frustrated and irritated. I think that didn't come across. Margaret says she's not surprised at all by Jackie's choice to pursue a friendship with Teresa, which has been described as calculated by some of the cast, with Dolores going so far as to suggest Jackie wanted to use Teresa to get publicity for her book. I think that they deserve each other, Margaret says. I am a good friend regardless of what anybody says. I'm brutally honest, and that's what you get with me as a friend. What you get with both of them is a friend based on being calculated for convenience and what you get out of each other, and it's not a true friendship. Margaret says she has no regrets in her handling of the falling out with Jackie, shouting out her divisive choice to send a screenshot of a text exchange between herself and Jackie in which Jackie slammed Dolores and called her a slob for not tagging her in a group photo on Instagram to Dolores while she was talking to Jackie at a party attended by the majority of the cast as a fabulous decision. So how she acted about that. That's why, again, I do not believe that she's okay with these words. At the moment, I was very true to myself and what I was showing Dolores just basically a glimpse. And she knows about it, truthfully. What I go through with Jackie, Margaret says, my job with Jackie was talking her off the ledge on a regular basis. She'd be upset about something. I would say, it's not true. Don't feel that way. You saw my part of the screenshot. Was like, no, I don't think so. Yeah, because she would cry about if she didn't get invited to things. She would cry. She felt she was left out. She would cry about the rumors about her husband. She would cry about it. Was just a lot of crying going on. Margaret says that she was pushed over the edge to pull the tech stunt after Jackie ran to Margaret's husband, Joe Benigno, and threw her arms around him. I agree, because I was like, no, you don't play those kind of games. You keep your hands off my husband. After getting to a near shouting match with Margaret that effectively ended their friendship. So, Jackie asked for that, because I'm pretty sure she would be cool if some woman was all over her man like that. I mean, it was just very contrite. It was very inappropriate after you just screamed at me, she points out, and going to Dolores, who she just badmouthed only like 3 weeks prior, not even, saying these horrible things, acting like you're her friend and everything else. So it was just like, let me show Dolores what you really like. Don't try and discredit me. Hey, it is what it is. Jackie was unsurprisingly upset by Margaret's move, immediately telling Dolores that Margaret, too, says horrible things about people in the group because, of course, it's always going to be that tit for tat. Dolores included, she just doesn't put things in writing. Dolores didn't seem to care. And I love the way Dolores quirked back. Yeah, she seems to be a lot smarter than you, doesn't she? Because she knows not to put that stuff in writing. And what more can the smart, educated lawyer, blogger, now writers do? Not much. Not much. I put things in writing that I truly believe. Margaret corrects the record. Whatever I said behind your back, I'm going to say to your face. And I believe that about Margaret. There's some speculation that Jackie later exposes one of Margaret's alleged comments about Dolores and her boyfriend, Paul Connell, as a revenge, leading to a previously teased altercation between Dolores and Margaret, during which Dolores appears to call Margaret a effing see you next Tuesday. I was a little shocked by that. It's very upsetting. Margaret offers of the tense moment, but it's nothing to do with Jackie. So I think we might see that tonight as well. Margaret says she and Dolores made up very quickly after the word came flying out of Dolores' mouth. The same can't be said for her and Jackie, who remains at odds. And at the end of the day, Jackie's not a main character anymore, so what difference does it make? I hope it was worth it, she says. I hope it was worth that. You gave up true friendships of myself and Melissa. We really, really loved you. We really championed you, and I just hope it was worth it. But you reap what you sow, and isn't that the truth? That lesson is also at play for Jennifer Aiden and Daniel Cabral. Sunday's episode ended with two getting into a physical altercation, which we have talked about, at a party at Teresa's house, which was the Tipsy Tulum party, and Jennifer shoving a too close for comfort Danielle away from her in the heat of an argument. Danielle then slammed her drink against Jennifer's head before making a swift exit. Both women received suspensions from filming after the incident and returning to production after investigation. Jennifer, to me, is clearly at fault, Margaret says. She watched the moment play out alongside the viewers as she did not attend the event. Danielle, it was a knee-jerk reaction. She adds, amounting Danielle's drink smashed to a reflex after being pushed hard by Jennifer, and she did like that, and it was nothing. It was nothing nice. Let's put it that way. At least, listen, Danielle got in my face before the season previously. Margaret points out, referencing their tense confrontation at season 13's Roaring 20s finale party. I didn't push her. She was just as close to me. I didn't have that reaction to push her and do something like that. Now, people do, sometimes will feel different depending on the situation. Maybe Margaret didn't feel threatened. Maybe Jennifer did. Now, while Margaret says violence isn't the answer, she also understands Danielle's reaction after being pushed both physically and emotionally. The Bougie Kids designer joined the cast in season 13 and welcomed into the circle by Teresa and Jennifer, and ultimately labeled a soldier for the duo after the events of the finale. At the Flapper theme party, Danielle confronted Melissa over rumors involving her cheating on her husband, Joe, which she learned of through Jennifer. And oh my gosh, am I so over the stripper comments about Melissa, the cheating stuff. Like, it's just so laid and tired. And I really hope that we are past that kind of commentary when it comes to Melissa and Joe. They are married, they are together, they are happy. He is super in love, she is super in love, they have a family. Like, enough with these so-called rumors. Melissa revealed to Danielle she was already aware of the gossip initially provided to Jennifer by Margaret's ex-friend Laura, because Teresa had brought it to Joe's attention ahead of the season. Melissa called it a setup, with Danielle left to fall on the sword, and a lot of us did feel that way. Teresa and Jennifer laid it out for her. Teresa and Jennifer denied doing so, but Danielle took them at their word. However, suspicion crept in this season after Jennifer brought a friend, Lena Cadiz, a hairstylist used by a few members of the cast, onto the show to air out some grievances with Danielle. Lena shared how she had done free hair work for Danielle, but was thrown out of the VIP section of a charity event the Real Housewives of New Jersey star had hosted. Jennifer had said it was one of the many examples in a pattern of behavior she saw in Danielle, revealing another instance of allegedly portraying a hairstylist ahead of their physical education. I think Jennifer has set up Danielle more than once, Margaret muses. I think it just sets in motion that Danielle realizes that these people really, it comes to light that these people are not her friends or never were her friends. And I think this season really takes a turn. The season is barreling toward a much hyped finale, an all-cast showdown so big that the network decided to cancel the reunion. And a lot of things happen at Rails. Margaret teases name checking the scene of the crime at Steakhouse made famous by the show. Kind of like Quiet Woman on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I bet. It's just not the fight between Danielle and Jennifer, she adds. I think it's a lot of things. I can't say anybody's most at fault. I think there's just such a buildup of so many relationships that just explode. Margaret says it was clear to the already divided group that there's just nowhere to go from there. After taping the glass-breaking luncheon, still, she's a little disappointed that there won't be a reunion to clear things up. Of course, I was very sad because I think I still have a lot to say. And I guess at this point, she'll either use more interviews, opportunities, or social media to get those grievances aired. Now that I think there's going to be, not that I think there's going to be amends made, and that's what a reunion is about, moving forward, but I think there's things that I wanted to say because so many things have transpired since. Receipts have been shown that I would have loved to discuss, but I was like, you know what? That's just the way it is. That's life, and maybe it's for the better because some people I really don't want to ever see again. The network has teased that there will be an alternative into the season in lieu of reunion. One Margaret hopes gives the cast a chance to say RP. It's clear a shakeup is coming for the Garden State. I wanted to say Golden State, but the Garden State for season 15. At least we know at this point there will be a season 15. I don't want to see this darkness. I don't want to see people manipulating storylines, Margaret says, of her hopes of where the show goes. I want good times, fun times, and light shade. At the most extreme, Bravo brings in all new cast for season 15. At the least, a portion of the current cast is let go. If Margaret winds up as one of the fired few, she's okay with that too. I've reinvented myself numerous times, she declares. This is just a part of my life. Housewives has been a beautiful part of my life, not my whole life. I have my beverage brand, Safaree, which I am focusing on. I have a lot of things. I was on TV as a lifestyle expert prior to Housewives. I still have opportunities to do that. So I have endless possibilities. So this would just be a great memory, and that would be it. So I'd be super excited just for a new, exciting things to happen. Of course, The Real Housewives of New Jersey airs on Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you're in the States, and they do stream the episodes next day on Peacock. So I know some of y'all probably watch it that way. Now, that was quite a bit of an insight sharing. They covered so many things, the reunion, the actual behind the scenes of the issue between Margaret and Jackie. I don't know why I want to call her Julie, but Jackie Goldschneider, the actual fight and how she felt about that, her opinions and thoughts about the cast shakeup as well, if that's a possibility to happen. Me personally, I think they should leave the cast as is and figure out a way to get them back on some kind of track, but that's probably not going to happen. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess, but I'd love to know your thoughts. Are you ready for a reboot of Housewives of New Jersey? If you are watching, or if you used to watch, you stopped watching because you didn't like the way things were going, let me know. Or do you think that you are cool with who they have? They just need to figure out a way to get them to at least be cordial enough to work together in scenes and not have the nastiness to the level that it has been. And definitely, involving outside forces into gaining traction on the show is never a good thing. Airing too much on social media is never going to be a good thing either, because it takes away from what we get to see, but it's definitely done on purpose because they want to obviously skew a narrative. And, I prefer to just be able to see the show, see an interview here and there in these kind of spotlighted moments, and, be able to talk about those things and then see how those things unfold. I really want to see for myself, because sometimes things that are shared in other modalities may not always necessarily be what it is. And by the time you have now seen it, you've already had an opinion already applied that may not necessarily be correct or accurate. And by this time, these individuals are also, part of the social media mecca as well. And so they're getting berated about things that maybe didn't happen in that way. So it would be interesting to see how that will go. They talked about the reunion, of course, and how that's going to look, because they're not going to really have one, but it is somewhat of a reunion in a sense, split, of course, by rooms at the scene of the crime, so there's definitely all kinds of ways to add some of that element to the show, since they're not going to give us the opportunity to the ladies kind of come together and speak on the past issues of the season. So I would most certainly love to know all your thoughts about those things. Feel free to share those respectable thoughts down below in the comment section. Also, let me know what you think about Safaree quitting Love and Hip Hop. Do you think that's a really done deal, or do you think we may see him later on down the line, as sometimes we do see cast members kind of dip in and out over time? But I would love to know your thoughts. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Definitely, if you are new here, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and be part of the family. It's free. It's free. And I would love to have you be part of this journey. And I have so many things I definitely want to share, and I'd like to get your opinions as well as sharing my own. So please go ahead and do that. And as well, if you appreciate the information and you enjoyed the video, I would so appreciate a like. It definitely helps my video, and it really helps with the algorithm, because I would like to get more people to see the video, of course, to add more to the family, so we have more to talk to, right? So yeah, definitely would appreciate that as well. And again, I appreciate your time and watching the video. So yeah, remember to leave your thoughts below. Let me know if you're going to catch the episode tonight, which should be airing soon. So hopefully you'll get a chance to catch this video before, but of course, even if you catch it after, I still want to know your thoughts, because it's going to be so much going on, and you may even have extra to add after you see tonight's show. So with that, I think I'm going to bid you adieu. Thank you again for being here. Be safe and stay blessed. And yeah, until next time, bye.